There we go, everybody. How is it going? Oh my goodness, it's been a week and a half. It feels like there's been birthdays and holidays coming up, and Frankie obviously is not here. Why it's why the bottom says the Bakersfield gentleman Miguel. But that's all you guys really want to see, honestly. I know he's pretty much just a distraction, a hindrance for the show. The gentleman title on him fits very loosely, but we humor him to be on still, but he'll be on again on Monday, guys. Don't worry. He's gone but not forgotten. He will be back. But more importantly than that, today we have a very special guest for you guys, and we are going to be talking a bit about the Cigar Heritage Festival, as it may suggest in the title right there. Hey Tim, how you doing? Thank you for popping on already, brother. Guys, this is one of my favorite people in the industry because he's always been there to tell us how it is and to really give us a lot of information, whether I want it or not. He tells us how it is. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, I'm very excited to bring on Steve Saka with you guys. But before we get into that too much, just do me a favor. Check out the links in the description for Cigar Heritage Festival, our sponsors on the show, for the Patreon, for the Facebook supporter group. We have our next round of cigars for Patreon supporters coming out next month. So if you want to sign up for that ASAP, you will get on to that. There's still the birthdays. There's still the greatest ash contest, which again, not the longest, just the greatest. So whatever picture you want to include, we'd love to have you in there. Eduardo, how you doing, brother? Jeff, how's it going? Do me a favor and share this, guys, and get ready to talk some Dunbar Tobacco and Trust, because that is the highlight of today. Eduardo, that's going to come at the end of the show, actually. Volume 2 has to take a back seat because I got a lot of questions for this man. I got a lot of information to talk. I don't get to see him as often as I'd like to. In fact, I have to make an apology to him once I get him back on. So I'm going to ask, Sir Saka, can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come on? Perfect. And here we go, guys. There we are. How have you been, brother?
Hey, Miguel, how are you?
Doing well. It's nice and cold here in California. It's a change from the 100-degree weather. How is it in your neck of the woods?
Snow. We got snow, man. You know?
That's terrible. Never mind. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Let me see if I can dim these lights. There's a little less shine on my head. I think I got it.
I thought you were just glowing, like radiant.
Yeah, you know how it is, man. You can't be this big and sexy without some glow.
I've been working on it, Been definitely helping. Oh my goodness. Hey Steve, how you doing in the comments? Thank you. I apologize if I don't get to you guys right away, but I will. If you have any questions, please put them in there. We will get to you guys. I promise.
Oh yeah. Ask away, man. I'm here. So this is your opportunity. Ask me anything. I'm not shy. If it's something that's just absolutely stupid, I'll say, "Oh, that's stupid. I'm not answering that shit." So don't worry about it. Don't worry about offending me.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm super dark. I don't know what happened. I think the lighting just changed because of my cigar.
This is crisis. Look at this. Oh my god.
What are we drinking today? What is that?
Well, it's the last of this Oban Little Bay, which is kind of a dumb name if you think about it, because Oban is Gaelic for Little Bay. So it's called Little Bay, Little Bay. This is actually a pretty good scotch. If you haven't had this one, whoops, I haven't had that much of it yet. I highly recommend this one to try. And I don't think it's that pricey. I think it's, I don't know, 50, 55 a bottle. Maybe a little more in other states, but New Hampshire, the prices are pretty good.
That's fantastic. That's one of those things I love seeing is there's lists. Everybody has them. Any of the connoisseurs out there will have their, 10 under 50 or 10 around 50. And you find some real quality in that price range. And
you can find quality down, around the $30 mark. But I find that there's a big leap when you go from that 30, 35 to the 50. It's like everything, right? Same thing in cigars, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a huge difference between that $3 bundle that you got versus a $7 cigar versus a $12 cigar. But the higher you go up the price point scale, obviously the returns diminish, right? And I find like most of the booze I tend to like to drink tends to be in that 50 to kind of, I don't know, $100 a bottle range. Is pretty, probably most of it's closer to 70, 75. Of course, it also depends on quantity, right? If I was burning through, 2 bottles a week, then okay, $75 a bottle is a lot. But I'm the type of guy that buys a bottle and it kicks around for a few months before I get through it. So, plus I have so much others. I'm always I'm always just trying a whole bunch of different things. I very rarely get locked into something.
I think that's a good way to do it though, because I mean, obviously there's staples out there. I mean, I like Johnny Walker Black on the regular. That's fine, just sipping on that. But to explore other stuff, because as
Johnny
much as
Walker,
I love
just for the record, Johnny Walker Black is the drink of almost all cigar makers.
wonderful.
And the reason why is because it's typically the best that you can get in all of these third world countries. So like Johnny Walker Black is like the top shelf. So that's what's been the most readily available for many years.
I did not realize that. As far as like a whiskey goes though, right? I'm assuming there's other liquors out there that they're like,
Yeah, but most of the liquors in third world countries are really just designed to get you messed up. You know what I mean? The stuff that's popular. So I mean you have a very low brown spirit access. I mean, look, certain countries, obviously, if you're the Dominican, you have a lot more rum options. You have more booze options than the Dominican, but in Nicaragua, yeah, I mean, if you're not buying it duty free on your way through the airport, you're pretty much Johnny Walker Black is top shelf. That's where you're at.
I can't complain. I'm not gonna lie. I've been on a big tequila kick as of recently. The guys know this in the shows we've done before, but yeah, I think a lot of people still out there don't give tequila the due it gets because it's some good stuff.
You know, I think part of it is because look, most of our early experiences with tequila as a white guy were almost always just kind of binge kind of drinking. So you kind of have that stigma to go along with it. Like I don't drink a lot of tequila, and this is something I do actually spend. So I like the Don Julio 1942 a lot.
Good stuff.
I mean, I really need to find a cheaper alternative though that I like equally because that's too expensive. That's like 140 a bottle. It also comes in that stupid giraffe bottle that doesn't fit anywhere. I mean, I understand why they do it because they want to show off on the back of the bar because it catches your eye. But as far as and your home bar kind of thing, that bottle is just stupid tall.
If it's nowhere, it serves no other purpose other than to like, yeah, I need that one right there because it's bigger
No,
than the other bottles. It must be
it's
better.
easy to find.
True, true. Actually, this is not as far as like trying to find that good price range. This is not a good suggestion, but I want to get you some. It's called Dami Mas, and it is tequila finished in sherry casks. And my goodness, it
How does that spell the Mas?
Dami Mas,
Yeah.
Dama space MAS. It's just Dami Mas.
Okay, simple.
I used to have a bottle around here somewhere. I know it's empty because it does not survive very long.
I just wondered if there was a Y in the middle. That's why I was asking.
Oh, for sure. Actually, I can see it from here. Okay, the bottle's empty on the counter over there. I'll grab it in a minute. Nope, no Y in this particular bottle. And with the beef stick shipments, what beverage and libations would you pair with your beef stick or with the beef stick?
So I get asked this question all the time, and I got to tell you flat out, I'm not the pairing guy. I've always been the person that says, "Hey, drink what you like to drink, smoke what you like to smoke, eat what you like to." I mean, there's some general rules of thumb. Typically, things that are sweeter tend to almost pair better with cigars. So you're going to find that bourbons are a better fit. You're going to find that, on the Scotch side, things that are finished in sherry or port barrels tend to be better. You're going to find it more difficult to pair with your Islay scotches, which I really love, but they're a more difficult pairing. But look, if you like a really smoky, peaky Scotch, and that's how you enjoy, then that's going to be fine. But I'm pretty basic with that kind of thing. I mean, look, milkshakes go good, soda goes good. I love black coffee always, with the cigar. That's what espresso and cigars are probably like one of my favorite combos. But when it comes to booze, I don't know. I mean, there's certain things that are hard. Wines can be difficult. Wine, the red wines always tend to pair better than the whites. Sake is a really difficult thing to pair with cigars, but I think sake is difficult to pair with most things, right? That's why it tends to, goes well with, like a really clean seafood, but doesn't tend to go well with a lot of other things. And something that's rather interesting when you talk about these pairings, I don't know if people know this, but one of the reasons why at the turn of the century, not this last turn, but the previous turn, during kind of like the golden age of cigars, right? The 1890s to the 1915-ish kind of era. Ports and cognacs became really popular pairings, and obviously it's the sweetness, but it was also because of the physiological impact of the sugars. Because cigars back then, they weren't nearly, the tobaccos were nowhere nearly as well fermented, so
Mm.
they were much rougher, and they had a lot more nicotine in them. So it was very easy to smoke a cigar and to feel queasy, and the high sugar content of a port or a cognac would help to offset it. And that's the reason why cognac and ports kind of became very popular turn of the century cigar pairings, because they actually made the experience of smoking a cigar less punishing to the gut, because it would knock down the nicotine. It would counteract the nicotine. Didn't knock it down, but it counteracts it.
That makes perfect sense. Now, does that have anything to do with the fact that there was a period where things were getting a bit mellow and now they ramped up for a while? There's very heavy cigars on the market that people really want. Um, does that trend kind of fall into there because they were just used to those heavy cigars for a while and then people really wanted something a
I
little
think they
more
were they
mild?
got those heavy cigars because they had no choice, because nobody was as good at working tobaccos as we are today. We're just so much better at it, and you even see it now. I mean, the Nicaraguan cigars that are being made currently are nowhere near as biting and as strong as the Nicaraguan cigars when they first were being reintroduced to the marketplace in the early 90s.
Okay.
I mean, perfect examples like Hoyt and Nicaragua Antaños, right? Those used to be like really blow your head up, make you queasy kind of cigars. And it was because you were at the front of that tobacco. It wasn't getting nearly as much fermentation, wasn't getting nearly as much aging in the bales. And as time goes on, even Nicaraguan cigars, they've mellowed out. Now, look, there's certain makers that still make really super blow your head off, but I don't even think Nicaraguan cigars are as harsh as they were just some 25, 30 years ago. I think they've kind of settled into a more, still stronger than most, but
Right.
they've settled into a much more approachable groove. And honestly, the market likes them better too. I mean, there's way more people smoking Nicaraguans today than there would have been even 15 years ago. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things that is kind of a little bit of a misunderstanding. Even most consumers that like strong flavors, they still want the cigar to be smooth. I mean, there's a certain category of consumer that really does want that super bitey, make my head explode kind of experience, but they're very, very rare. Okay. And even when you are that consumer, it's not typically something that you want every single time. It's more the, hey, occasionally I want to smoke X, Y, or Z, but as a daily, as a all the time kind of experience, there's really not there's not really that many of them that smoke that way. And you'll also notice, and I think you'll see that most like new cigar smokers, they go through that progression where they start mild and they build and they build and they build, and then they really get into it, and they just keep going stronger, 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 and then they hit a point where you just can't get any stronger. It's just physically not possible.
Yeah.
And almost always, over the matter of 3, 4 years, they start to dial it back a little bit, right? They also kind of come off their own personal high as to what they want, and they kind of settle down a little to something that's a little less biting and a little bit less harsh.
I definitely agree with that because I'm just starting myself when it was the beginning. It was obviously people introduced me to lighter things, and as the tolerance kind of built up and the profile changed, it would go stronger. And I was noticing it was just a rise in strength, not really thinking about flavor. And
Yeah.
then once you get to a certain point, it's just strong. Like why
Yeah,
are you
strong,
looking for strength?
strong, too strong just washes out all the flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, but look, that's a personal thing, right? Everybody, I mean, strength is always the one. Like, we can all talk about earthy and hay-like and grass, and flavors you can kind of get to a degree where we can kind of say, okay, that's kind of woodsy tasting and that's kind of chocolatey tasting, right? Strength is the one thing that's really hard to try to describe in some sort of way that it is equal for all consumers. You know what I mean? Because everyone's perception is so different. And some people equate strength with bite. Other people equate strength with spice. Other people equate strength with the nicotine content and how it makes them feel. And on top of all of that, everybody's individual tolerance levels are different. I mean, and we all know this. I mean, you have people that think Tabasco is too hot, and you have other people that Tabasco is like water and they love their ghost pepper chili sauces, right?
Mm.
So I mean, it's very, very strength is the hardest thing to try to really define in a way that's fair for that everybody will agree, because they just never will. You have plenty of people that look at Sober Mesa Brulee and say that's too strong for them. You have other people that say Mickey Rita Tricky Traca, oh, that's way too mild for them. You know what I mean? So it's a very, very hard thing to quantify.
Speaking of the Tricky Traca, that's Brian right here coming in with that. The Micarita Tricky Traca 4x48 is the best. I have to agree with him on that. That is my favorite size. I love me.
I like the 6x48 because it lets me ease into the strength. Look, the 4x48 and the 6x48 are essentially the same blend, but that extra filtering of the 6x48 in the beginning, it just lets me kind of ease into it so it doesn't smack me as hard right from the jump. Where the 4x48, I have to be in the mood for the 4x48. In the 4x48 format, personally, I'd rather smoke the regular blue one, the Gordita. I like that one better. But in between the red and the blue and the 6x48, I actually prefer the Tricky Traca 6x48.
All right, very nice.
The proportions on both of those formats are identical. The 48 ring gauge. So it's really the only delta is the length between them in a blend, where the blend in the 6x52s is slightly different. You know what I mean? But in the two 48s at the two different lengths, it's the exact same blend within both of the respective for the blues and then respective for the reds. So the only delta is that extra 2 inches of filtration.
Okay, so is that true on a regular basis as far as length versus ring gauge? Do you think that the length of the cigars usually will be closer to each other as far as blend versus if it gets a larger ring gauge, the
Yeah,
profile?
typically blends get adjusted through ring gauges and not as much through size.
Oh, it's fair. Okay.
Okay. I mean, look, obviously, if we're talking the difference between a 4 inch cigar and an 8 inch cigar, then yes, there's some more extra voodoo going on. But in that kind of 4 to 6 inch kind of range, it's almost always typically the same. And where you get the adjustments are in the ring gauges. So typically, like, you can have the same blend coexist in like 46s and 48s. You can have the same blend coexist between 50, 52s, and 54s. Once you get beyond a 54, it's almost like the blend has to be adjusted for the 56s to like the 64s. And then when you get bigger than that, I don't even know what the fuck happens after that because I don't know a lot of
Something has to happen, but
yeah,
the
but yeah,
details are there.
but it's very common within a line and then of course, obviously, it's a totally different blend in that kind of Corona 42 to 44. Again, you only have so much space. So you can only fit so much. Length you can deal with, but girth wise, you can only fit so much. So you have to tweak the blends between the ring gauges. Now look, some brands don't. Some brands just proportionally say, okay, if this cigar is this big and this one's this wide, just proportionally scale down for the smaller one and scale up for the larger one. But I don't think that typically works well to do that. I personally find it lazy because the thing that's always a delta in the difference of the ring gauges is the combustion temperature. The narrow rings are always going to smoke hotter.
Yeah.
So I think you need to adjust the Liga to take that into consideration.
That makes perfect sense. Now, if I wasn't a gentleman, I could have made a whole lot of comments about the length versus girth debate right there. But I'm going to leave that alone for right now because there's
I personally wouldn't know because I'm very satisfied with my length and my girth. It works for me. It's never let me down. So that's other people's problems.
Exactly. It very much. If I was drinking, I would toast to that, but I will raise my coffee to that. 100%. It's very true. Jeez. Oh my goodness. I should have let Frankie do this and then I'm leading us astray. I apologize. But real quick, Keith brings up. Will there be Barbara Amarillo? Will the Barbara Amarillo be back? Best limited edition of 2022, and he smoked them all, so he's very happy. He's looking.
I'm glad you liked it. Honestly, I don't know because the whatchama people, the small batch people, they haven't mentioned it to me. So if they're like waiting for me to send it to that, say it to them, they're sadly mistaken. I got enough shit to do. So if they don't come back at me and say, "Hey, we want more," then the answer will be no. There won't be more. If they come back and they ask for more, then I'll get it into the production schedule and I'll be happy to make more.
Now,
So
this
that's
is
a question to ask small batch. To be honest with you.
It's fair. That's fair. But I am looking forward. I hope I can get a hold of one myself. I've not tried it yet. That is the important word there, yet, because I will. And there's a will, there's a way. I will get a
Yeah,
hold of it.
look, look, we made like how many boxes of that did we make? It wasn't a giant production, but it's like 500, right? So I mean, they were out there, and I think I don't even know how long it took them to sell through them. I don't know if they, yeah, I think they sold them the same day. They all went out.
Nice. That's
But
always
I
fun.
think, it's a lot with like a lot of these limited kind of things. I think a lot of cigar guys, they trade them, right? This
Oh,
guy got U-boats. This guy got Barba Maria. This guy got this. I mean, look, you have a consumer that follows them all and gets them all. But I think that with the number of them that I do, I don't. I think there's a lot of people that they cherry pick. They do one or two a year, and then what they'll do is they'll then swap with people. That's one of the advantages of like some of the Facebook groups. You can go in a Facebook group and say, "Hey, I didn't get a chance to try this." And I think the other thing too that's really kind of good or bad. So this is where Pete has definitely got me. Pete is great. He makes these limited editions, and then he doesn't make them forever again. And then they end up with this huge tertiary third party flipper model where they end up going for big bang. For good or bad, my stuff doesn't tend to do that because I think the flippers realize that I just keep making more of this shit. So it kind of kills the flipper market a little bit, which I'm okay with. Look,
yeah.
my job is not to keep the flippers in business, and I don't make any more money, nor do my retail partners make money when cigars flip. So I'm always willing to make more of something if I have the tobacco and I have the production capacity. I mean, my job is to make cigars, put them in a box, get them to sell. That is the job. The job is not to make some guy outside of the business, who isn't committing anything wealthy. And I shouldn't say committing. That's not fair because I mean he spent his money, but it's not. Again, I don't think about the flippers ever. I mean, in fact, I think like one of the biggest mistakes in our business is I remember when John at Crown Heads, he really worried about all the guys that were upset about the Las Calaveras being a limited, and he said it was going to be limited, and they got pissed when he was talking about making more, and as a result, he then converted into La Imperioso, but he didn't do the same sizes, but he did all the classic sizes in the first release, which were like Robusto Toro and Double Corona. So he like cut out the three best sellers or two of the three best sellers, and you can see La Imperioso, good cigar, but it never went as far as Las Calaveras. Whereas I would have said, fuck you guys. My job is to make cigars. My job is to sell cigars. That's how my employees get paid. That's how the company grows. I mean, it's not my job. And that's one of the reasons, too, I'm always very careful. I never use the words like limited edition. I always use limited production. But I'm always very upfront about it. I will make more. If I can't make more, I don't make more. Like I can't make more Todos Las Dias. So therefore, I'm doing an annual release on Todos Las Dias coming up like January, February. I guess it's going to be February, where I
Nice.
did a batch of them. But I still don't have enough tobacco to make a whole boat. I can't bring it back into full production. Same thing. I have a real tobacco crunch on Don Derma. Don Derma is a tough one for me because it has Wisconsin Comstock in it, and it's a particular variety of Comstock that there isn't a whole lot of. So I can only get so much in any given year. So it kind of limits how many Don Derma I can make. But at the same time, make Don Derma what, 4 times now? And I'm in the process of making more Don Derma now. So again, if I can get the leaf and I can make it, it's my job to make cigars. It's not my job to make Rolexes.
No, I totally get that. I mean, who are you trying to make happy anyways? Are you trying to make the people who are gonna resell, or the people who are gonna smoke them now, or maybe collect them for themselves, which is totally fine too. All 3 are fine, but I'd much prefer to take care of those.
I have no animosity towards the resellers, but I don't worry about the resellers in my business model. It isn't part of what I think about, which can hurt you a little bit because you don't end up getting that uber buzz, right? Can you imagine how much unicorns would go for if I never made more unicorns?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they'd be crazy, right? But like, isn't $100 crazy enough already? Are we not? Is that not bad enough to begin with? Do we really need to make that into a $500 cigar that you got to blow someone to get? I just it doesn't have any appeal for me.
No, I understand that, and yeah, I think, no, I think the price point, because there's some cigars out there nowadays that are just they're pricing themselves to be these ultra luxury items, and I'm thinking like, do you need to be? Does it need to be $80 for your like regular production? Like that's driving me crazy a little
Hey,
bit.
look, that's the way. Look, I think almost everything Davidoff's been releasing has been. I mean, they're not really releasing much that isn't $40 and up at this point, is there? And look, I'm not as you're in tune more than I am, Miguel, but I'm just thinking of just recent history here. I mean, what's the last like full brand they launched? Was it Late Hour or was it Churchill or
It's been a
the
minute.
Late Hour Churchill? See, I can't even keep them straight. Is that the same thing, Late Hour and the Churchill, the
Let's
Winston
see.
Churchill?
I honestly I don't smoke a whole lot of Davidoff. I'm not gonna lie. I think actually Brian right here, the rabbits at 50. Actually, I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's $50 enjoyable, but
I admit the rabbits look very sexy.
yeah,
I gotta give them credit on that. I mean, they look sexy. I've been staring at those boxes. You know what else looks sexy to me? Those Cuban Ramon Ones private stock 230s that they're shipping to the UK.
mm,
Those look sexy to me too. I mean, those are what, $2,500 for a 10 count box? No, not 2,500, 2,500 pounds. So it's like $2,900 for a 10 count
I'm
box.
about to say yeah, it's a bit
Yeah,
more.
but that's richy, rich territory, right?
That's fair. I mean, and you deserve a market to wherever your price budget is. I'm not gonna fault you because you have the money for it. That's not cool. I mean,
Yeah, look, and like people spend crazy money on all sorts of crazy things, right?
yeah,
And look, I'm guilty of it to a degree. There's certain things that I like watches. Now, I don't like. I'm not in the, you know, Patek Philippe $100,000 kind of watches, but I've always been okay with spending some extra change on a watch. But let's get real. It's a watch. It isn't even nearly as accurate as as my G Shock, right? The G Shock is a much more accurate watch. The phone serves the purpose. The Apple Watch does everything and 100 more things, right? I mean,
yeah,
so, but yet I like mechanical watches. So therefore, this is something in my head is worth me spending my money on, right? But
100%.
it's again, it's just personal. You know what I mean? Like I'll spend money on a good rod and reel combo.
Yeah,
For me, it doesn't bother me to drop $400, $500 for a really good rod. It doesn't bother me to drop $500 on a really good quality reel. But do I catch more fish with my $1,000 rod and reel combo? Hell no. The fish don't care. Nobody knows, but I like the feel of it. I like how smooth it is, So for me, that's a place I say is worth money.
yeah,
Other places, I'm not a clothing guy, right? I'm not a shoe guy. I'm not a wine guy. So for me to drop $200 on a bottle of wine, it better come with some side action with that $200 bottle of wine for me to go, okay, yeah, So, but I think we all make those choices, and
it's
we
very
all have those things that for us it's worth it, and for other things it isn't worth it. You
no,
know?
100% for myself. It's not an expensive collection, but it's DVDs and VHSs. Just because I love movies. I make movies. It's something I enjoy. I want a physical copy, not just the streaming, where everyone you can get it for $3.99 online, or you can pay $25 to have it shipped to you. And
My oldest son's the same way. I think he has literally thousands of different DVDs. And even to this day, he still collects DVDs, movies on DVD. Me, I don't get it because I rarely watch the same movie twice. You know, Which
I have
again, that's not been true lately. I've been watching more movies over again because I'm having a hard time finding movies I like, and because I've seen so many, I could go back and watch a movie and I kind of remember it, but I don't really remember it. I just remember, oh, it was good, so I can watch it again.
there you go. That's all you need. As long as you remember that it was good, watch it again. Go for it. That's the same thing for most things. If you enjoyed it the first time and you got the time to dedicate, do it again.
Yeah,
That's
because
fine.
if you look at my Netflix continue watching, there are so many things I will start and I'll watch 10 minutes of it and go, oh, that's crap. And I'll grab something else and I'll watch 10 minutes and go, oh, the acting's terrible. Oh, the score's terrible. You know what I mean? And it's like, so yeah, I mean, but that's the benefit of the streaming service. You're paying a flat rate. So it's not like I'm whatever, $3.99 to $9.99 into the movie. It's part of my whatever, $14.95. I don't even know how much Netflix is a month.
Uh,
14.95,
something like that. Yeah.
19.95. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, everything is relative. You know?
100%. Now, here's something that's not relative though. Amber's asking because these are priceless items. She's trying to get a hold of now. How much to get or how do we get a big Sasquatch guy?
You open a cigar store and you spend $10,000 a year, and then we send you a biggie squatch.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's basically about $20,000 worth of cigars that consumers cost in order to get one. The other way is a few times every year we'll do some that are in some sort of raffle. Like we're gonna have one come up this year for a Facebook contest, maybe two. In fact, they just posted something on Facebook about contests. So but the biggie squatches, they cost so much money that they're just not effective. I mean, it's just those amazingly those dopey things, they're like $500 each cost.
I believe that 100%.
You
That's
got you got to pay for that initial mold, and a mold that big is so giant, and they're all hand painted, and then they all have to be, they all are hand trimmed, hand painted. Then they have to be packaged and shipped to states, and they have to pay taxes, and they have to be the container, and then just to ship one out costs like $75 to almost anywhere in the country,
yeah.
right? Even more to the West Coast. So they're very cost ineffective, and that's why, like, even when we give them to the shops, we give them to the shops with the caveat that they can't give it away and they can't sell it, because if we find out they will, we'll just cut their account off because we didn't charge it for them. We're basically handing them something that physically cost me about $500, and the intent of it is for it to be there, so hopefully it catches a consumer's eye and they ask about it, and then that ends up being the thing that leads into them saying, "Oh, well, this is the guy that makes these bad cigars over here," blah 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 blah.
To sell more cigars in the shop, though, it's like that's what they want.
I mean, that's what you're hoping. You're hoping that a retailer's smart with it, and they put it in a place that it gets noticed. But yeah, it's strictly what we call it, point of sale, POS, right?
Yeah,
is what it is. So I mean, it's basically a really expensive sign in 3D. But yeah, I don't see a future where we'll sell them because, I mean, just to make the next batch of them, I mean, it's a huge commitment.
I don't blame you. Now, I did notice that you put the one at the show for PCA like directly in the center. Did you know I was going to try to take it and just put it under my shirt? Is that why it goes there?
Yeah, I gotta do. We're gonna do one next year. It's even a little different. Again, it's just stupid and it's silly and it's eye catching, and I'm always amazed by the people that want them because, I mean, for the most part, most wives do not even want the little one in their house. I can't even imagine how they get away with the big one, for God's sakes. I mean, it's just like you definitely have to have your own dedicated man cave in order to get away with having one of those things kicking around because it's pretty big.
I think it deserves a good spot. Like right now, I'm sitting in Culebra's Lounge, which is the members only lounge here in Bakersfield. It's a wonderful spot. I would like to commission one of those guys who do the wood carvings with the chainsaws.
Oh yeah,
Do a bear sized one and just put it in a corner here. And then one day when you get back to the West Coast in another 6 years or so, we're gonna have
on the West Coast like a month ago.
I missed it. I was so upset because it was what Merced, right?
Yeah, I went to, it was the San Francisco area. So we did an event for Napa. We did an event for Cigar Monkey, and we did an
That's
event for Alone.
that's
So
the one I was gonna go to, a Cigar Monkey, which is where my sister's actually going to school right now, is in the area. So I was gonna kill two birds, go visit her, and then the day of for her birthday, she came here, and I had to spend it
what
with her. So
birthday, for
I was
God's sakes? You can't skip.
terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like, ugh, why are you getting older on me and ruining my chance to go see Saka? Like, I thought we were family, but it's fine. Anyway, Brian asked, "Watch or pipe guy? Um, do you collect pipes? Do you, I didn't.
I don't. I don't I don't really collect pipes. I have pipes, and I probably have, I don't know, 15 or 20. But I tend to smoke the same 4 or 5 over and over. And in fact, Shane Ireland from smokingpipes.com, he keeps telling me I need to send him the pipes I'm not using, because I personally don't get the whole estate pipe thing. It kind of grosses me out. But it's wildly popular. And look, they clean them. They have a professional shop. They have an on-site pipe shop that reams them, cleans them, sanitizes them. And but there's a whole group of consumers out there in the pipe segment that are okay. They call it, they even give it a fancy word. I call it a used pipe. They call it an estate pipe, right? And so, I mean, and I know that if you have old pipes, and the funny part about it too is they don't only just want expensive ones. They'll even take, like, I mean, they won't take crap, but they'll
No.
take even like used Petersons, used Savinelli's pipes that you were $125. Now they're going to give you what, $30 for it, maybe $25 in store credit. But I guess, there's a certain, it's like everything. This model's been discontinued. There's always some guy that's looking for this. There's always a guy that's like, hey, I'm okay with an estate pipe. If I save $50 buying it, then fine. And then you have the other end, like I have some really big size 6 Dunhills. That's like a really mega, and I never smoked them. So those are expensive. I probably should send them to him. But yeah, for me, I have I have like I have like 4 or 5, maybe 6 pipes that like literally are like 98%. And I rarely buy a new one.
Well, that's if you're using the same ones, I get that. That is a great term though. I like that. From now on, I'm never selling anything used. It's all going to be estate.
Yeah.
I got some estate shirts if anyone wants to buy them. They might have a little patina on them.
My estate car. Would you like my estate car?
Much fancier. I love that actually. That's a great idea. I've honestly not heard that term. I'm not a pipe guy. It's very rare. I've had a couple of buddies who have tried to teach me about, they're blending their own mixes of tobacco, which is awesome. I think it's really cool. But I just prefer, it's so much simpler for me.
I was a pipe guy before. I was a cigar guy and a pipe guy simultaneously. But when I was younger, I smoked way more pipe because I could afford to smoke the pipe. Because you can smoke high quality tobacco in a pipe for, even today, 2 ounces of high quality stuff costs you somewhere between $14 and $20, right? And you can smoke, for that, you can smoke 15 to 18 times 2 ounces in kind of a standard kind of 3-gram style bowl. So for let's just figure $18 on average, you're getting to smoke for like 40 to 60 minutes for about $1, right? So it's way more economical than cigars. The problem with it is you got to use a pipe. It's a lot of it's fussy, right? It's a lot of figuring out pipes. The bowl makes a difference, the shape of the bowl, how you pack the bowl, the type of tobaccos, how dry the tobaccos are. And it isn't like with cigars where we can all say, hey, I finally find my humidor at 67%, works really, really well for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I find that if I cut my cigars, it works really, really well for me. With pipes, it's really variable. It depends on what tobacco you're smoking, how that tobacco is cut, what the moisture content is of the tobacco, how you pack that individual tobacco into the pipe, and then just the act of when you're smoking it, trying to gauge if you're smoking too fast, too slow, how much to tamp. It takes a lot of finesse. Now, once you get it down, it becomes almost second nature, and then you can like it's very rare. Like with tobaccos that I smoke on the regular, I can literally light them once, and I might have to touch it up and light it a second time during the entire bowl.
Wow.
I don't have to constantly light the thing, but it takes a long time to get the feel for it, and it makes pipe smoking really difficult, particularly for new consumers. New consumers, it's really, really hard. The thing is with most new consumers, in order to keep it lit, they're drawing on it way too fast, and it ends up being burning way too hot. And then they totally mess up their mouth. They burn themselves. They get what they call tongue bite, but it's really essentially you burning yourself. And so it takes a lot of practice to get good at it. But look, when I was enlisted in the Navy and I was broke dick, that's I could afford to smoke good tobacco in a pipe. I couldn't afford to smoke good tobacco in a cigar.
That's very fair. And you know what? I do like the idea of learning your passion though too. If you really enjoy pipe tobacco, it's okay to put that time in to understand what you're doing properly. And like you said, it becomes
The other thing with pipes is you get a lot more variety. I mean, there's a much wider spectrum of tobaccos, and for most non-pipe smokers, the only type they know is that really super aromatic, smells like, lane 1Q. It's almost always kind of sweet. It's that whole Captain Black kind of genre. But the reality is, there's a ton of like really diverse tobaccos that you can smoke in a pipe that for the non-pipe smoker, they wouldn't think they taste like pipe. Okay. But, most hardcore guys, they don't, I mean, you get that smoker that sticks with just aromatics, but most end up moving beyond that and they start to smoke a lot of different types of pipe tobacco that the average non-pipe consumer wouldn't even think of as pipe tobacco.
That's very fair. That's definitely in my mind too. I have a certain, I would like to explore, and I'm going to explore more. It's going to be a series of watching Miguel fail at smoking pipes at first, but it will get better. I promise you, people.
Yeah, it's just a matter of practice, really. And the thing is, and what I always tell consumers too, when you're starting to smoke pipes, is it's actually easy to stick clear of the aromatics. The aromatics tend to be really soupy. They tend to be really moist. They tend to be really sticky. They're almost the hardest to really figure out how to smoke. You're actually better with like a mild English blend. I know Latakia smells really strong to the nose, but it's actually one of the mildest tobaccos.
Huh.
And a good Latakia is a really clean burning tobacco. So you can go, like something like a Dunhill early morning pipe is a classic, pipe tobacco. It's actually easier. And then if you like the aromatic, you don't have to take your favorite aromatic and just, in a bowl, mix of some of it in there with it. You know what I mean? Because you can get that aromatic sensation with a base of a simple, milder English style blend without having to try to smoke through all the aromatic. It also depends on, again, it depends on the aromatic. Most inexpensive aromatics, they actually douse the tobacco with propylene glycol to try to keep the moisture in it because it's packed in those stupid, pouches that you have at the drugstore, right? The
Oh yeah.
Captain Blacks and the half and half and the cherry this and the cherry that and all that. So it's super extra syrupy, and you're better to smoke a higher grade aromatic that doesn't have all that extra additives in it. But the super soupy ones, they're the ones that give you the real punch of cherry. They're the ones that give you the real punch of chocolate. That's, you're going to get much more of that flavor and aroma out of those, but they're actually much, much more difficult to smoke. And again, goes back to that's where almost all consumers start because it's there on the shelf, it's readily available, it's inexpensive, and oddly, it's like I think most people that start with pipes, they really have a very bad first initial experiences, and it kind of turns them off. Which I guess is good for me because I'm in the cigar business and not in the pipe business. So it's better that cigars are more convenient.
I am okay with that as well. It'll always probably be my first choice. I don't see myself moving to pipe or to hookah anytime soon. So thank you for making cigars.
You know, it's the same thing with hookah. Like in the United States, all the shisha we get is all this like super gummy crap with tons of sugar and tons of flavor agents. But when you go to the Middle East, they have much more traditional tobaccos that don't have any of that stuff in it that they smoke in a hookah. Their shisha is not like the shisha that we get in the States. And you have to really go out of your way as a hookah smoker in the States to find those quintessential classic non-flavored shisha blends to smoke because it's like everything. Look, there's a reason why consumers like that stuff. So that's what the bulk of the market caters to, is to all the flavored stuff. But it just gets too sticky.
No, that makes sense to me. That definitely does. And like you said, if the consumers like it, why not make it? I get that. I totally get that. But speaking of the consumers, real quick, Vincent is asking about the holiday Stillwell Stars. I'm a little excited about that too.
Holiday Stillwell Star is kind of what we're talking about. It's an aromatic pipe tobacco added into a traditional cigar blend, but it's a very mild aromatic. It's probably milder aromatic than the original aromatic number one. The aromatic number one and the holiday aromatic pipe tobacco are they share one common ingredient, but other than that, there's no similarities in any way whatsoever between them. So I almost look at the holiday as kind of like a lighter style of aromatic. In fact, I read a comment in one of the groups today that the guy doesn't get any of the aromatic flavor out of it at all. But again, it kind of goes back to what's your expectation? I mean, if you're looking for that like really super kind of flavored cigar experience, then you're much better off with a Java or a Tobacco Especial
Yeah.
or a Deadwood Sweet Jane. You know what I mean? Because Stillwells are not going to give you that level of flavoring, I should say. You know what I mean? It's just
Oh,
it's not in their nature.
which
And
is
then
different because we hung out at, I think it was La Casa, and you were just pounding groovy blues like nonstop. I was like, man, I didn't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. But no, I totally get what you're saying. Though. It's for a different experience than
yeah,
the actual
I
flavor.
also have to think there's no reason why the person that really loves a Deadwood Sweet Jane that's spending I don't even know how much those are. They're like $8, right?
Well, here in California, it's a little bit more, but about $8. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
about
crazy.
$8 MSRP, right?
Yeah.
That consumer aromatic Stillwell is probably not where they want to go. You know what I mean?
Totally fine.
It's really meant for a different consumer. Now, can I see the person that likes the Sweet Jane? It's like, hey, I like some of the aromatic Stillwells. Yes, but they're definitely gonna get way more of that flavoring kind of experience smoking a Sweet Jane than they're ever gonna get out of a Stillwell. And the thing with Stillwells is Stillwells are cigars first with a nuance of the pipe tobacco. They're not pipe tobacco cigars in the way. Now, I'm going to try playing around this year and see if I can make a much more aromatic pipe forward style product because I'm just curious. The problem you have is so most of the pipe cigars that are out there, they're really not just using pipe tobacco, they're adding flavor agents to it, right? Because the problem that you have is when you put true pipe tobacco beyond a certain proportion within a cigar, it just doesn't burn right. You know, it actually becomes a construction related problem. So it's not possible to take a true regular pipe tobacco and just make it into a cigar. Pipe tobacco is cut and it's designed and it's fermented and it's processed in a way to be smoked in a pipe. It's not made to be smoked in a cigar format. So many times when you look at like a John T, right, which is a quintessential pipe tobacco cigar, or
Oh yeah.
a Middleton Black and Mild, that's a pipe tobacco cigar. Well, there's a lot of extra goodies that they're putting in a Middleton Black and Mild to make it that way, that are not part of what we would consider to be premium top shelf.
Very
So
fair. Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I look at Stillwell as just a really, it's a fringe product. That's what it is.
It's a great product though, for being for the lack of a term of fringe, because I think like when you put a state for the use, I feel like fringe doesn't do it justice. I feel like unique, because the ones I've had have all been really great. I very much enjoy them, and I can't wait to try the holiday. Um, so I think we need to invent another word that's more powerful than fringe. Like
Yeah,
like
I
Prince called himself the artist formerly known as. It needs just another spin like that.
thing is, there's nothing really to do a one-to-one comparison with it. You know what I mean?
Very fair.
I
Yeah.
mean, and I don't know whether it's something that appeals. Like, I know, like, for most of my retailers, the one that they like the least is the one I like the most. It's the Bayou. The Bayou is the slowest seller of the four. We're a year into this now. I see the Bayou lagging behind, but the Bayou is also the one that is so much different because it's that really quintessential Virginia combination of golden and red Virginia with a touch of Perique. It doesn't give you any of those things that an average pipe smoker or an average cigar consumer would think of as a pipe cigar. Whereas if you're a pipe smoker and you smoke a Bayou, then you start to go, oh yeah, I get these traits. I get that. I get that citrus note. I get that little bit of zing. I get that little bit of freshness and brightness. And I also get this kind of really mild beginning, because that's the way vapor blends start, is they start very mild. But as you get to the bottom of the bowl, they actually are some of the strongest pipe tobaccos
Hmm.
as the Perique really begins to kick in and burns more and more. And that's the way the Bayou smokes. So the Bayou number 32 is a really good representation of the nuances of the way a vapor blend would taste. But vapor blends are something that novice cigar smoker or novice pipe smokers never smoke. Vapors are the blends that grizzled guy that's been smoking a pipe 20 fucking years, he's the one that's smoking, vapors as his daily all the time thing. And that guy doesn't need a cigar, right? He's a hardcore pipe guy, right?
Yeah.
So for him, so you look at that blend and you go, is there really a purpose for it? Who is it satisfying? But I didn't want to just do the easy. I didn't want to just take the easy slam dunks and just do different aromatics, a really chocolatey one and a really sweet one and a cherry one and a grape one and all those kind of quintessential things. I really wanted to try to do something that gave some of the nuances of the different styles of pipe tobacco. Like, there's a whole pipe tobacco genre that's based around cigar tobaccos.
Nice.
Okay, there's a group of pipe consumers that smoke a lot of dark air cured cigar tobacco as a large part of the blends that they enjoy smoking. Now, obviously, there's no incentive for me to make a Stillwell that's based on a cigar pipe tobacco blend, because what am I doing here, right? I'm just taking cigar pipe tobacco with cigar tobacco.
That would be the most hipster thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I finished the blend on is I want to do a Balkan style. Balkans are really super heavy.
Okay.
So, and it'll be interesting because the Stillwell done with Balkan style blend is probably going to be, it's probably going to be the people that currently don't like Stillwell, but they really like Tricky Tracas and those style cigars.
Ah,
They might actually jam on that one,
I like that.
right? Because it's moving into their kind of taste profile. Now, whether they'll recognize the fact that it's pipish, I don't know. And what I haven't decided is I've been working on two different versions. I've been working on a more traditional Balkan, and I've also been working on kind of a Balkan Burley Cross, because American Burley is a very strong pipe tobacco. It's again, it's something that the hardcore pipe guys they're into their Burleys, American Burleys. So we'll see. And I don't know whether I may make that the next holiday blend, which may be a huge commercial mistake because I don't know. Yeah, I'll figure that out when I get that far. I can't. I'm just trying to survive till next week, dude. I don't even think about holiday 2023 at this point.
No, oh god, you got to get past Christmas of this year, and that's not even thinking business wise. That's just personal life trying to get through Christmas. Sometimes it's just crazy, craziest holiday out there now.
For all of us, right?
Yeah, and then real quick, Joshua, I agree with you, brother. The Navy is absolutely phenomenal, and Vincent was asking about the Bayou compared to the core brands as far as sales go. I think you kind of answered that with the.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean, it
quite.
started
Yeah.
so for the first 6 months when we launched the product, they were all selling equally. I've noticed over the last 6 months, I'm starting to see separation, and the aromatic number one sells at about twice the pace of the other, and the Bayou sells. So you got aromatic number one being selling twice as many as the English and the Navy, and then you have the Bayou where the aromatic is selling almost 4 to 1. So the Bayou is starting to drop to the bottom. I know, but the beautiful part about all of this for me is I'm not locked into the Bayou.
Yeah.
So in other words, I've already I've already finished probably like another 8 or 9 Stillwell blends.
Nice.
So it's just a matter of pulling the trigger, saying, okay, let's start producing these and putting these in a box. So maybe sometime in 2023, I'll introduce something else and I'll just let the Bayou go on its way. And then maybe 2 years from now, I'll do a limited production on the Bayou for those people that really love Bayou and make a batch of it and do something like that. But I mean, it is important for me to figure out what works the best for my retail partners as to what are the 4 different ones that work the best for them.
Hundred
But I
percent.
don't want the line just to be aromatic, 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 because that kind of defeats what my vision is. I need the others to sell, but I don't expect them to sell as well as the aromatics because look, people just like aromatic. They like this is the reason why that's why acid's so popular, right? That's why deadwood's so popular. That's the reason why Java is so popular. There's a large group of consumers that smoke that style.
Nothing wrong with that, but I totally get that. You want to the idea behind it wasn't just to have, you know, like you said, grape earlier. Like it's just not. That's not the whole purpose.
I want people to actually get a different experience. See if they can pick up the nuances.
Yeah.
I want it to be a little experimental, and we'll see. And who even knows? 4 years from now, maybe it's a dead brand. I mean, you never know. Look, I know that if I make another iteration, like I know Mi Querida Blacks. If I make Mi Querida Black, I'm just going to sell more Mi Querida Black. That's like a safe bet, right? I make a new size of like I already have another Brulee Blue called Big Blue. In fact, it's been ready to go this year. I just decided not to release it because I just had so many things going on that I didn't want to put another Brulee Blue into the marketplace. But it'll come out next year. It's like a hey, just cash the check. I know that that's going to work. You know what I mean? When it comes to Stillwells are just too different to even now to really know whether there's any long-term potential. Is there a consumer long-term for that product, or is there only the consumer that's willing to try it because it's different and new and fresh, and they're willing to try something because it is different? But whether they go and they add it to their rotation and smoke it on the regular, that's really, really hard to know. And look, and if the holiday turns out to be really popular, I know it's popular right now, right? But it's popular because of the FOMO and it's a limited release and it's for the holidays. But if consumers really like that one, I'm not opposed to adding that aromatic to the core line. I just don't want the whole line to become nothing but aromatics.
That's very fair. Totally get that. Uh, there is a couple of questions I had for you too, and then I believe Josh saying 648 in black, please. Now is that a 6 by 48 or is that a 64 by 8
No, he
inch?
means a 6 by 48, but there actually is another black. It's already being produced. It's 5 5/8 by 48.
Nice. So
So it's called Papa Saka. So that one will be released at this year's PCA trade show.
very nice.
I was originally going to My original plan was to try to get four sizes of the black into the marketplace, but I don't have the capacity to do four. So what we'll do is we'll keep doing the current one, the Saka Con, and then what I'll do is I will add another one in the smaller format this year. The other thing too is all the Saka Cons. I kind of want them to be a little like I know the blend is slightly different in the black. The black has the Honduran, the reprise seed from the La Estrella farm in northern Honduras. I don't want to just make a Toro and a Robusto and all those. I want to keep doing a little bit, not like sizes that nobody wants, not Lanceros and thises and that's, but I want to make the sizes in the black a little unique, a little different. So this year we'll do a 5 5/8, and then I finish the blend on a really nice Perfecto that we'll probably do the year after that. So look, I'm always I'm always having to think about 3 years from now. So like, not only do I know what my 2023 releases are, I already have a pretty good idea what my 2024 releases are. You know what I mean? And I'm already working on stuff for 2025 at this
Well,
point.
well, if you want to send any of that my way, it's totally fine. We'll keep it a secret. We'll just tell the internet. I promise. That's it. Um, but the reason we had the show to begin with, we haven't brought it up yet, but as you guys already know, as the title suggests, Cigar Heritage Festival is in about 2 weeks now, guys. It's on December 4th, and this is actually, as you mentioned, this is going to be your first time being there as well. Yes.
Yeah, I've never gone. I've never had the chance. I always have something else scheduled that weekend. I had something scheduled this for this one too, but they changed the weekend. They moved it back a week earlier.
Oh,
So that's the reason why I was able to go, because when they originally approached me about it early in the year, I'm like, dude, I'm already committed for that. I can't do it. And then I learned about 2 months ago. Now they changed the date sooner, but I didn't realize that they had changed the date. And when I learned that because I saw that Lafferty was going, like, how are you going to this, Lafferty? Because he's committed for the same thing. It's the Rockies Christmas party that we do every year.
nice.
So Rockies and Syracuse, not Rocky Cigar, Rocky Patel. And when I found that out, I'm like, oh, you know what? I can come too now. Now it's so I'm gonna kind of crash it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I thought you found out that myself and Frankie were going and we're doing the media
Well,
for
you know what part of it too that motivated me a little is I didn't realize that Trey Oliva
it.
has
Yeah.
become a partner in it, and I do millions of dollars of business with the Olivas, and kind of like, oh well, gee, I really should kind of show up, shouldn't I? We kind of have a really important business relationship.
I suppose you make a stop by. It's okay. I mean, yeah. Once it's the millions, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think at that point, yeah.
Look, I mean, it's right there in Centennial Park, right, which is a small park in downtown Ybor City. It actually borders a street named Angel Oliva Sr. I think that's on the west side of the park is the name of that street.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, it's obviously a Fuente-centric, Fuente J.C. Newman affair. I mean, they're the principals in it, which makes sense, right? J.C. Newman's got their factory operation
Yeah.
there in Ybor City or in Tampa. Like I said, I've always wanted to go, but I've just never been able to go. There's always been a scheduling conflict. I think it's a catch-22. So like my 2023 calendar is almost 100% booked.
Nice.
So not nice. So what it means is anybody that comes to me and says, hey, can you do this in July or can you do this in September? They think, wow, it's like 10 months from now. And the thing is, I'm already booked 10 months from now. So I really, I need. It's one of the reasons why, like, so like the moment the Great Smoke ends, Abe is telling me the date for the next Great Smoke.
Smart.
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
has to happen.
I know that the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival is always the last weekend of August. I know the dates of the trade show for next year for the PCA. The day I get to the trade show, right? They announce the next year's dates. And I think that's something that event organizers, I don't think they realize how much in advance planning we need schedule wise in order to be able to do some of these things. It's not that we don't want to do them. It's just you're already so committed. Like right now, like we were talking about this before we came on, how many of these podcasts I do, right? Like I'm literally right now booking podcasts in April of next year.
Damn.
All right. That's how far things are. Now, look, this came up just a few weeks ago, right? I was here. I got a Friday night. Boom, boom, boom. Fine. I'm happy to do it. Always happy to do it. But it becomes a real problem to try to squeeze these things. That's one of the reasons why I've never done what's the black cigar festival they do in Miami? What's that called?
Oh my goodness. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name off the top of my head either. This is gonna be my first time on in Florida for a cigar event. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I was supposed to go to the Great Smoke, but that was the time when all our stuff was stolen out of our studio, and I was a little bit peeved, so I wasn't in the best mood to be traveling with people. Like I don't think I'd have been in good company. Um, but I can't wait to get out there for more stuff. But first time going for an event.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always look, everyone has always told me it's a good time. But I don't know whether it is or isn't, right? So I'm gonna get to see it myself and kind of judge what I think, as far as the event. Um, but so I'm really looking forward to it. But we're not doing anything. Look, we're gonna have a table. We'll be like every other vendor. You'll come and I don't even know how it works. I don't know. Are we selling cigars of this thing? Are we giving away cigars? I know absolutely nothing. All I know is that I'm supposed to be here at this time and there at that time. That's essentially my entire understanding of the event. And Laffy tells me I'm supposed to be nicer. So, but that won't happen.
I
So,
don't know about that. Yeah, I don't think that's kind of one of those side notes. Like, you can gonna fall to the wayside.
but no, I'm looking forward to it. Look, it's December in Tampa, right? So that part doesn't suck. I mean, the weather's really really nice. Beginning of December in Tampa, that whole stretch, December, January, February into March, they're probably the 4 best months in Florida.
Also, I'm going at the right time then. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and Ybor City's cool. It's a cool town. Tampa's a lot of fun. You've got a lot of great cigar stores there. Look, I've never been to Cathedral. I mean, look, I do a lot of business with Jeff at Corona Cigar,
Yeah.
so I'm definitely going to go see Jeff. I'm going to go see a couple other accounts while I'm there, but I'm not doing any events because I don't want to step on the Cigar Heritage Festival, right? I don't know if we're doing sales there, but I don't want to. And I had this conversation with Jeff. It just isn't right to do an event someplace else the day before, the day after. So I'm going to go and just kind of do the rounds a little bit, but I am going for the Cigar Heritage Festival. That's why I'm going.
That's wonderful. That's it. That's why I'm gonna be there too. I'm very excited. I'm very excited they have us for the media. We'll be doing a show similar to this, so I'll probably bug you for a couple minutes on camera. We'll come to your booth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
And I'm going to I noticed Jamie mentioned the pre-party at JC Newman. I'm definitely going to make my way over there. Again, just a common courtesy, right? And plus, I want to have the experience that everybody else is having too. I want to see it. Now, you get to a certain point. Like when I used to go to Rocky Mountain, I used to go to the Drew Estate event. Well, I don't go to the Drew Estate event anymore, right? I go to Rocky Mountain, I do the Rocky Mountain Day, and then I'm pretty much out of there. But that's because I've already done all the other things. With Cigar Heritage Festival, I want to see what the pre-event is like, and so I want to check that out. And I think Jamie, you said that the pre-event's Saturday, right? And then the actual day of the festival is on Sunday. I think that's true.
Yes, and if you guys, for those who might not know, I was just told yesterday by our contact that anyone who paid for their general admission ticket is actually going to be refunded, and it will be open to everybody. So there's a VIP ticket. I don't know if there's still any left. I apologize, but if you would like to go, you can just go now, which is very awesome. Those who used our link for that, I appreciate you using it because you got your free ticket. But now everyone's got a free ticket, so I love that. The
Oh,
more the
really?
merrier. Get on in there, yeah.
I wonder why they're doing that. They must have not sold enough tickets.
I don't care why they're doing. I want to see as many people to get in there as possible. That's totally fine with me.
Yeah, look, I'm the same way. I mean, the more people, the better. Because for me, look, it's the interaction part, right?
100%.
So I mean, it's one of the reasons. Like for example, like I remember all the hoopla about the PCA doing a consumer day, and everybody had a million opinions. I would have always been okay with a consumer day at PCA. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, look, I'm already there. I'm set up. Any chance you have to interact with fellow cigar smokers is a good thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
for me, limiting it doesn't really. I don't know who that benefits. To be honest with you, I'd rather have more people than less people.
It makes sense. It really does. Especially when you get, like you said, other cigar people. Those are my people. I like talking to them already. That's why I go to so many lounges. That's why I like being in the industry as much as I am, for that matter. It's been a wonderful experience from day one to now to get to meet more and more people. There's
So are you
absolutely
guys still operating out of Bakersfield?
unfortunately for the time being. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, yes, we are out here. Um, the the plan is to be here for a little while longer as we kind of build up our own stuff. We're still doing Pariah cigars, so that's really fun. We got a little announcement for you guys at the end of the show for that.
Well,
Uh,
explain this to me because I'm really clueless. What are we talking about?
During the pandemic, we were approached to do our own cigar, and we put together our brand Pariah cigars, and we did California
Pariah, as in Pariah, Pariah.
Pariah, yes,
I don't
and
know. What a peculiar name to choose. Okay.
I enjoy it. That was Frankie's come up with that because for our own experience, like there's been a lot of there's so much heritage in the cigar industry, and there's so much rich history and family and generational experience, and honestly, we don't have any of that. We stepped
How do
in.
you? Nor do I. So that's a non-issue, right? Um, how do those cigars get distributed and sold? Do you sell them direct? Do you sell through retailers? Do you?
Well, for right now, it's directly through us through the show because we don't make extremely large amounts. For instance, California Dreamin' Volume 2 is our latest, and we only made 1,500 sticks.
Okay.
That was it. And I get to have the very fun and privilege to say they are finally here, guys. And tomorrow morning, I will be shipping out to those who did their pre-orders. I really appreciate it. I'll show them off in a second. And
Awesome.
but I'm so excited to finally have them here. I love them myself. Big shout out to Artista Factory for helping us with
That
that.
was my next question. Who was making them for you?
Yeah, yeah, Artista Factory and Ram and James from Sinistro for helping us make all this possible. And there'll be one day I'm gonna knock on your door, Saka, like I want you to make me a cigar, please.
Yeah.
Let me get to that. Let me get to the point.
Amazing.
Yeah, I gotta get my baby steps in there first. We're still working.
Yeah.
It's only our second release, really. Of
The answer is always the same. You want me to make cigars for you? You got to buy me.
I think that's fair. That's 100% fair.
Buy me out, then I'll be your slut. I'll make anything. But yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I'm bad at this. This is a part of the business that I'm really, really. There's certain areas of the business I'm really weak at. I'm not good with the interaction with the retailers. I'm really weak there. Um, I'm not good with the interaction with even the salespeople that work for us. Like if you talk to Lafferty, I mean, there'll be a time where I won't talk to him for a month.
Oh, geez.
Okay. I mean, he's my vice president of sales. I got my own shit to worry about. The selling of the cigars. The way I look at sales is how much money are they bringing in this month, and does it exceed the amount of money I spent that month? And if it does, I'm a happy camper.
That's
You know
fair.
what I mean? So for me, it's a much more kind of macro thing. I don't want anyone to take it like I don't care about sales, because I absolutely do, because sales are what actually allows the company to grow and move forward, become bigger, and do more interesting projects. But it's a weak part for me. It's not an area that I really focus on. Another thing that I'm really terrible at is I'm really terrible at the whole networking within the industry. Like, I know there's a lot of people who are really good at it, and they're always looking for collaborative projects and things to do with other companies and other people and co-branding and this and that. And I've always been really reluctant to do most of it. It's just not in my nature to do it, and so I don't do much of it. So I mean, I'm kind of quasi doing it with Red Meat Lovers at this point, right?
Yeah.
I don't own Red Meat Lovers. That's an Evan Darnell thing.
That's what I'm smoking right now, by the way. Totally
So
forgot to mention
I mean, I'm kind of, but even that didn't start with some grand plan. That started with me and him on a podcast together with Abe, and just started as a little tiny, hey, why don't we do a cigar to smoke with red meat? And I like red meat, and it kind of went from there. But there was no like master plan to. And I'm always, I always look at these projects, and I'd be lying. I mean, you got to give props to Espinosa doing his thing with Guy Fieri. That's a huge coup. You got to give props to Drew Estate doing their things with people like the Pappy people and the Blacken with Metallica. I mean, these are serious projects with a lot of really serious people. But that's an area that I'm really super weak at. I'm in my bubble. I stay in my bubble. I got my own little personal hell going on. I'm just kind of trying to tread my own water, and I kind of go from there. So who knows, maybe 10, 15, 25 years from now, I'll be dead 25 years from now. But that's neither here nor here.
I'm gonna need you to not do that. That's gonna be one of my requests. If you could stick around longer than that.
Who knows? You never can guarantee anything.
It's very true. It's very true. But I could see maybe you could what was the Jonas Brothers name? I think that'd be a great collaboration.
Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, I forget which one was on the cover of Aficionado. I had no idea he smoked cigars or had his own tequila line, for that matter.
Well, I think he's on the cover of Cigar Aficionado because he has his own tequila line, right? He just wants to pimp the tequila.
I think so. It might just a little
I mean, it's very rare. Most of these celebrity collabs very seldom are successful long term. They always have like a little kind of spike. That's why it'll be interesting. I mean, the thing with the Guy Fieri thing is he actually really smokes cigars. But I think one of the problems is there's so many better ways to make money that when you're like one of these really well-known celebrities, it's really hard to devote the time and energy
It's true.
to being in the handmade cigar thing, because the handmade cigar thing is so tiny with such a limited audience. You know what I mean? It makes it really hard, because I just know how crazy busy I am, and I'm nobody. I can't imagine how crazy busy these people are. I mean, they got to be just totally off the chain as far as obligations and commitments and people wanting you to be here and do this and do that. I mean, and so I think oftentimes celebrities get involved in these projects, and within a year or so, they really kind of like, all right, did it, done it, been there, done that. Not really for me. It's really it's a tough thing.
No, it's very fair. Especially I like when you mentioned Fieri for the most part. I did not realize that there was a cigar lounge in Flavortown. So that's a good thing to know, because I am a big fan of Guy Fieri, and I had no idea it was coming up. So that's cool. That's a great.
The thing that's nice about a Guy Fieri is he's a guy that I think most people can relate to, right? So it's a much more relatable kind of personality that fits with cigars. So I mean, but yeah, look, it's a lot of work to do those type of things, and like I said, I'll be really interested. So far, I'm pretty impressed with the Guy Fieri relationship so far. Got props to Espinosa.
100%, 100%, and good cigar. I like it. All right, for that point, guys, I think we'll do some final wrap ups real quick. Steve, what show are you hopping on next? Do you know what's next for you?
Yeah, I can look at my calendar. What is next? So I'm doing a private thing on the 21st, but that's kind of like a herf. And then I'm doing the International Cigar Society on the 30th. And then on the 7th, I'm doing probably one that people will, the Tuesday night cigar club. I don't know if anyone's ever, I don't know how many people watch that, but I really like those guys. They go on forever. They're like 4 hours. They always watch a movie,
Oh, geez.
and you've never seen those guys? Tuesday
I
night cigar club?
I know of. I haven't had a chance to watch.
Yeah, that's what they do. Is they pick a movie and they smoke and they drink their way through the movie with commentary. So they're very movie focused, but normally they'll do like hardcore cigar for like the first like 45 minutes an hour, and then they'll get into their total film school dissection of movies.
Nice.
So that is on the 7th. And then what else I got? I got another podcast. Oh, I got a big one. This is when I fucked up. I missed my very first podcast ever. I was
Oh,
a total ghost on this one, and it was for Lee Mack.
yep. I saw that. He's a good guy though. So
Oh, he's a great guy, and I love his reviews. They're hilarious.
he got
My
mad at
favorite,
me one time,
my
actually.
favorite review is his 10 worst cigars of the year. That is, I never could promote it because all my fellow patriots and peers would hate me for even giving this guy any shine on this show. But do yourself a favor, go onto YouTube, look up Lee Mac 9112, look for his 10 worst cigars of the year. It's fucking hilarious every time. It cracks me up. And the thing I like about it too for me is he doesn't like everything I make. So I always wonder if I'm going to make his top 10 worst. You know what I mean? So I always kind of watch it going, when am I going to make this list?
Oh, shit.
So, but yeah, he's pretty entertaining. And good God, I got a lot of this stuff, man.
I just need you to tell me the next, like you said, 10 months. We'll just go through the entire list. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, why not? I got another one. I got December 22nd with Abe. It's Smoke Inn.
Oh, awesome. Very nice.
Why do I have one on the 22nd with Abe? I don't even know. Who knows? I can't.
He'll tell you. He's honest, so he'll let you know.
Oh, he'll let me know, but I can't remember what the reason why.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go for now. What do you call? I appreciate you spending this time with me. I apologize, Frankie couldn't be on today.
Look, it's nice. Why do we need Frankie anyways?
That's what I say most shows.
Highly overrated. Really.
When I see him like sitting next
You're
to me,
the star. You're really carrying that guy along. What? I don't even understand why there needs to be gentlemen. We can just go gentleman.
yeah, I gotta
mix
get
him
a
out of the
back
deal.
massage soon because I've been backpacking him for so long. It just hurts my back at this point.
Carrying him the whole way.
It's ridiculous. Oh man, no, of course not. But gosh dang it. But obviously, I know you're a busy guy, but you're always welcome back on whenever you like and whenever the opportunity arises.
Dude, I come if you invite me. You don't invite me, I don't come.
It's true. I've learned that. It's like, well, it can't really blame a guy for not hopping on a show if you're not going to send an invite. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh, but having said that, is there anything that you want to make sure people know before we wrap it up for today?
What the fuck do they not already know, for God's sakes? If they don't hear me say it today, they'll hear me say it in 4 days. So.
That's a pretty good point. And I still remember the first time I got to hang out with you. It was here in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
I think like 5, maybe 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And man, they had you talk because everyone was there to hear you talk. They wanted to hear what you have to say. And I couldn't even stay to the end because I had to go to work at friggin' like midnight at the time.
Dude, I'm a big inertia guy, man. Once I'm stationary, I don't move.
But I don't blame you. Solid like a rock. Nothing wrong with that.
I don't think solid is the term I'd use, but thank you.
Oh man, what is this? December spots open. Oh, awesome. Very nice, Brian. Nice, nice. I'm sorry, by the way, Brian, I haven't been able to be on the shows. Wednesdays, the last couple of weeks have been terrible for me. I apologize. Or I'd hop on the hearse. I apologize for that. But we're gonna let you guys go for today. Brother, I appreciate you being on with me. And I will see
Looking
you
forward to
in
seeing you in a couple of weeks, man.
yeah. All right, folks. I'm gonna let Saka go, and then I will be back on later tonight with Frankie because we have to make some announcements to you guys.
Hey,
And he has to be in the room
you
for
got
one.
a what's it called?
Oh, California Dreamin' Volume 2.
California Dream. Does it come with an album, music, soundtrack?
It comes with that and something. Oh, I'm gonna mention it now. I've been
Why not?
thinking this for a minute. I was in my local grocery store, buying dinner for the family. Gonna grill up some asada meat, because it's California and we love it. And I was looking through the soda, and they actually have a California Dreamin' brand soda. So I picked some up. I'm like, this is a Saka move right here. It's not as good as Sasquatch poop,
Yeah.
but I think it's a pretty cool thing that I had
Take advantage of all that stuff, right? If somebody did the work for you, what the hell? Why not grab onto it?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Okay. I felt a little crazy. Like, who the hell can want this? But
you know what? It's not. None of that stuff is going to make the cigar better. Okay, we all know that. But what all that stuff does do, it just adds a little bit of an element of fun and uniqueness to it. You know what I mean? So, and the other thing too is like I take the cigar part, the tobacco part, really super serious. But you can't be like you have a stick up your ass all the time, right? That's just, I mean, that just kind of misses the whole point. Cigars are meant to be enjoyable, right?
yeah,
So it's one of the things. And if you look at the like really successful companies, they don't they're very serious, but they don't take themselves too serious.
it's got to be that way. Yeah.
Nobody likes that. I mean, yeah, sure, the Brooks Brothers cigar aficionado dude, yeah, that dude. But how many of them are there in the world? The truth is, there's way more average Joe, regular cigar smokers that like to kick it on their back deck at the end of a day and relax. That is who our consumer is, right? Our consumer is not that guy that worried about his next Bentley and his next Patek Philippe, and it's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right, guys. All right. I will let y'all go. Y'all have a great weekend. We will see you tonight for a bit. And yeah. See you guys also Monday. We have our show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2:00, as per usual, guys. Get your name on the wheel for the
Well,
birthday.
we do a lot of podcasts. That's what 12 a month.
I do that, and then I am bringing back with Mel the morning show. We kind of got off track because she went to Vegas, but I used to do one every day. Plus,
Really?
yeah, I did the Great American Morning Show, which I love, and I want it back. I want it back every day because it was during the pandemic, and people. I just did it for myself because I wasn't waking up in the morning. Like, no, you need to get your ass up and start doing something. And then people were telling like, hey, it's really nice. I don't have anyone to talk to or other things locked down, and I felt like I was actually doing something for once. Like, man, I'm very happy to be there for you guys. And if they still like it, I'm still gonna keep doing it.
I think Brian Lewis would kind of take the same sentiment with his 420 thing, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Really appreciate the invite. See you in a
Absolutely.
couple weeks, my friend.
I'm gonna try to wake you up then super early for a Great American Morning.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
All right, people. Y'all have a great weekend. If you can't tune in before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there, and have a great, great Friday.